I just want everybody to know that. Like, no, I paid her.
That was free.
We don't do that here at One Life Radio. But so good to have you in studio, Robin, as always. Holiday blues, how to get through them. So many people suffer with holiday blues. So why do people struggle so much during the holidays?
Well, there's a number of reasons, and one of the most common ones that people don't think about is what we call a trauma bond to time. So literally, because there's so many reminders around the holidays, and we are designed to be cyclical creatures, is that if we've had more experiences of negative things around the holidays than positive, then our memories will actually go back to trigger that cycle.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And so if we had a death of a close loved one, or have just had a lot of negative experiences, or loneliness, or, being alone during the holidays, those emotions will get triggered to come up cyclically around all of the reminders that are around us, during that time of year.
Yeah, and so, what about a seasonal affect disorder? Does that play into this too? Because I'm happy today the sun is shining, but when the sun is not shining, it's like, wah, wah, wah. My energy level just drops.
Yeah, and so, your vitamin D comes from the sun, and so there's a genuine diagnosis called SAD, seasonal affect disorder, where people get depressed in the winter. Yeah. And so that can line up with, the time of fall and winter.
Well, Kip Watson and I have had this debate many, many times because she doesn't believe in it. She says it's all in your head, and she's probably listening right now. Hey, Kip. But we've argued on and off the air about this. But I think that it's proven to be very scientific. But for me, I think what it is I'm very affected by light through my eyes, and it only makes sense. It's part of the human or the experience on life. I mean, we need darkness and we need sun, and we need it, in the proper amounts in order to have the amount of energy that we need to get through the day.
And I think that if you probably polled people who live in Florida versus people who live in Minnesota, you would have fewer cases of seasonal affect disorder in Florida.
Right. Well, so you know what I just thought of? What about plants? There's my scientific explanation right there. If you don't give a plant sunshine, it will die.
There you go.
That's right. And after a long period of time, it does the want.
That's right.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit deeper about this, though. What can people truly do to improve their perspective, if you will, or their attitude during the holidays?
Well, and so a couple other things that are really common are poor diet. We eat a lot of sugar, a lot of bad food that affects our brain chemistry, and also just really conflictual relationships with people we have to spend the holidays with. So I'll have a lot of clients come to me going, I'm going to be around my mom, and she just triggers me, and I feel all these same feelings I felt in my life. So we'll work on that. But one of the things is just really being brave and going, I'm going to have a sit down, conflict resolution time with this person, or set some boundaries, or have an agreement that just says, hey, we don't get along. Let's just avoid each other and not be passive aggressive and not make digs at each other. Like just being honest rather than stuffing all that stuff inside and being miserable during these get-togethers.
How come people can't make peace with one another? Is it because we not all people, they just have to be right in order, their ego takes control of their mind?
Well, in this case, I think that people believe they're letting something go because they don't want to hurt your feelings or have conflict. I think people are more passive. People who have no problem with conflict usually don't have unfinished business because they're blunt. They'll tell you how they're feeling.
Right.
It's the people.
It's called a New Yorker.
Yeah, exactly. And but those people who are, feel like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. They'll get upset. I just need to let this go. But they don't actually know how to let something go. They just stuff it and it just accumulates. So I think that's more of the case than the other. And then just, upping your nutrition during the holidays, making sure you don't use an excuse to just stay on sugar the whole time. It will affect your brain chemistry and your happiness.
And so many people walk around unhappy and they, with fear, ego, all those things are such low level energies. You talk about being a emotion code energy practitioner. I don't think that people are very aware, most people, about what kind of energy they're putting out.
Oh, absolutely. Just not self-aware at all. And, one of the other things, too, about the cyclical memories is that people will just go ahead and repeat the patterns rather than go, hey, okay, so you're divorced. Here's your chance to make some new memories. Let's start some new traditions. Put some energy into wiping the slate clean and now making the holidays mean something different repurpose them, reinvent them.
Yeah.
We get to do that if we choose to.
Yeah.
So we can start now and do something different that in the future, that will be the memory we go back to.
Yeah.
Instead of what we've done in the past.
Well, I bought a hard copy of the book, You Are a Badass, because Jen Sincero is coming up on the show. She's going to be in studio in a couple of weeks, and I'm so excited. And I was just flipping through it, Robin, this morning, and it says, I ran across this, and I marked it. Flip the fear. For anybody out there that's suffering from a lot of anxiety, I think we all have some ourselves, and we might know someone who's really suffering. But I saw this, and I was like, this is so powerful. Flip the fear. When you find yourself letting fear push you around, look at it from a different perspective. Start by breaking it down, finding out what it is that you're really afraid of, and then flipping it around to make it work for you, not against you. Show it who's the boss and feed your fear a suck it sandwich. I thought that was so clever, and I love Jen Sincero and her book, You Are a Badass. But people do need to really get tougher and stronger and have a sense of humor, about their fear. Kind of like Thich Nhat Hanh, like, hello, fear, how are you doing today? Yeah. Because fear leads to anxiety, and anxiety leads to bad feelings and bad relationships.
Right, and I think people just play the victim. And so, if you fit into these categories, go get some therapy, deal with some of the past traumas that are around the holidays so that they're not getting re-triggered. Make some choices to do something new. But some of this is subconscious, and we have to acknowledge that people don't know why they have the fear or anxiety, and get some help if that's the case. So help release that, reprogram that. A lot of people have a hard time around holidays because their kids are grown, they have no one to spend it with. It just triggers this loneliness. Right. And that's when you go, okay, I am going to make a decision, make a choice to do something new and different.
I love that you said the word choice, because that's what was in my mind. This is you have a choice to be happy. You don't have to remember all the bad things. You can remember all the good things. You have to take on an attitude of positivity in order to get through this thing called life.
And there's always something to be grateful for. So
Absolutely.
It's what are we focusing on?
Well, yesterday at the opening, I read from the book A.J. Jacobs' Thanks 1,000, where you follow his journey of thanking where his cup of coffee comes from. And did you know that there's 2 billion cups of coffee served a year?
Wow.
Worldwide. Isn't that amazing? But he writes that, where is it? I had it underlined, but it's about, oh gosh, it's such a great quote, and I'll find it before the end of the show. But continue on.
Well, and the thing is that people are stuck. And so just own your stuckness and get some help and get some coaching, get some therapy, get some coaching, and make the holidays mean something different. Even if you've lost, you've had a lot of death. Okay. Well, when we get out of ourselves and we go, hey, I'm going to go to the homeless shelter, I'm going to go to the children's home and bring gifts, or I'm going to go to the elderly home. Do something different to create some new memories.
And I say sing. Get out there and sing.
Sing, great for depression.
I've been through a lot. I've had a lot of loss. That as my therapist. Yeah. And I choose to be happy. I choose to have gratitude. Here's the quote. Happiness does not lead to gratitude. Gratitude leads to happiness.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank all of our sponsors before we go off the air and let them know how much I appreciate them. I have incredible gratitude for the great companies that support this show, like Sun Warrior. Get it at Vitamin Shop, or put it in your smoothie at Smoothie King, Squatty Potty, the H-Hemp Company, Paleo Magazine, the Wellbeing Journal, and the International Society of Sports Nutrition. Robin, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Drive safe out there. Be nice, everyone. Be nice, because you get one body, you get one mind, and you get one life. Get out there and make the most of it.